Gary Cohn is with me. Gary, thank you for giving us the extra time. It's good to have you. Listen, Gary, there's a footnote to the last unemployment numbers. It basically said they're understated because they can't the methodology. So in reality, we are looking at depression-era levels of unemployment. How much of this do you think those jobs are not going to come back? It's going to be basically maybe half, three-quarters will come back, but what won't?
So first of all, remember, the Depression era unemployment numbers, we got there in a completely different fashion. You can look at the years leading up to those unemployment numbers and the years coming out. They were completely different. This was a binary event where the federal government basically told 90+% of the people in the United States to please, for the greater good of the country, stay home, do not go to work. And so we got to this unemployment number in a very unique way. And 80% of those people in that survey said that they thought that their unemployment was temporary, that they would be going back to work relatively shortly, within 6 months or less. Look, I hope that that's right. So we know that many of these jobs will come back. The problem is, if you look in the restaurant, entertainment, beverage industry, we just don't know how fast that industry can come back and at what density or what utilization that industry can come back. Even if a restaurant opens tomorrow or a bar opens tomorrow, there's no way it can or should come back at 100% of capacity. So this is going to have a long tail on getting all of those people back into the workforce.
At what point, and I agree it's not now, but at what point do we need to worry about the trillions being spent and the amount of money being loaded onto the deficit, bearing in mind that debt to GDP is now over 100%. Again, you know, I'll preface it, perfectly understandable. You don't stop spending yet. But at some point, we will have to worry about it. When is that point?
I couldn't agree with you more. We don't stop spending now. We need to defend our economy. We need to take care of our citizens. We need to make sure people have the ability to feed themselves, house themselves, and buy the necessities they have. But you're absolutely right. We are creating a huge deficit in the United States with now the knowledge that at any given moment in time, the federal government may need to step in and do it again. We don't know if that's next year or we don't know if that's 100 years from now. So we as a country, and hopefully Congress understands, that they need to really sit down once and for all and look at both sides of the equation. They need to look at the expenditure side of the equation and really justify how we spend money in this country. And number two, we need to look at our tax system. How do we collect taxes? Who do we collect taxes from? And both sides have to be looked at, and everything needs to be on the table. Remember, last time we went through a crisis like this, or a depression era in the United States, we came out with brand new taxes. Social Security tax was invented, and there were other taxes. It may be time to have a pay down the deficit new surtax in the United States, which would be great. We'd be supportive of that, but only to the extent that we put a hard debt ceiling in place. There's no point to pay down on one hand and increase on the other hand.
This is an election year. I can't see anybody suggesting a deficit tax yet, but I accept your point, Gary, that this is something that has to be done. Do you think any politician has the whatever to do it?
Richard, this is not going to be done in 2020. This is a challenge for the new Congress that will be set in 2021. We'll have just gone through a presidential election. We'll have new members of the House. We'll have new members of the Senate, and they will have a huge, daunting both task and or opportunity. And I think it's an opportunity to once and for all look at the budget, look at the tax system in the United States, and say, hey, based on what we know now, we have to take a radically different approach to this.
Gary, it's always good to have you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you giving us time this afternoon. Keep well and keep healthy. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks. I will. You do the same.